Hi, my name is Cassie Winter, and I'm a writing and accountability coach. And today I'm going to be talking about the 3 reasons why this common piece of writing advice is toxic. It's downright harmful, and instead of helping writers who aren't writing write, it actually often has the opposite effect. What advice am I referring to? I'm referring to the advice just write. I hate this advice so much. And if you're still listening, you probably do too. So I'm going to talk about the 3 reasons why I think it's incredibly harmful. It's the opposite of helpful, and it makes things worse more often than not. So, reason number 1, it belittles the craft of writing. And what I mean by that is the work of writing. Writing isn't simply putting words on the page. I know in a previous episode I talked about what the work of writing looks like. It's a whole bunch of stuff. It's not only putting words on the page, it's thinking, it's brainstorming, it's planning, it's revising, it's editing. Going for a walk and thinking about your work in progress, to me, is the work of writing. Like, it qualifies as work that needs to be done. So the advice, just write, is so closed-minded about what the work of writing actually is and what it looks like in practice over the course of an entire writing project that it can freeze a blocked or a procrastinating writer in their tracks because they're like, well, if it's that simple, why can't I do it? And it's not that simple. Like, I can understand from the perspective of a writer who is actively writing why this advice makes sense, but it's the kind of advice that makes sense in retrospect and is not helpful for someone who is stuck. So that's reason 1. It belittles the craft of writing. Reason 2 is it belittles the process of writing. And by that, I mean the work you do to get yourself to do the work. So that involves planning your time, actually scheduling your writing sessions, and the stuff you do to get yourself to follow through on your writing commitments. Some people call this discipline, other people call this habit building, and like, sure, it falls under those umbrellas. I find those words kind of gross, and it just turns writing into something that's like a paint by numbers. But at the end of the day, you have to put in work to get yourself to write as much as you put in work to do the actual work of writing, if that makes sense. So that's reason 2. The advice, just write, belittles the process of writing, and every writer's process is different. What I do to get myself to write regularly is different from what someone else needs to do to get themselves to write regularly. And part of the process to get yourself writing is to figure out what works for you. All right. So, reason 3 why the advice just write is toxic is because it completely ignores the reason why an individual isn't writing. Every writer who isn't writing has a different reason or set of reasons why they're not writing. For some, it might be depression. For others, it might be difficulty scheduling. For yet others, it might be that they're what Gretchen Rubin calls obligers, people who need external accountability to hold themselves accountable to following through on internal expectations. It can be a whole lot of different reasons why you're not writing, and it can be really hard to get to the root of it on your own because it's really hard to self-diagnose these things. So it can be really helpful to talk it out with someone who's been there, another writer, a therapist, counselor, or writing coach like myself. Getting to the root of what is keeping you from doing your writing is really important, because if you ignore that and you try to just write, as the advice goes, you're gonna either be completely unable to get yourself to sit down and face a blank page, or you're going to get that far and you're not going to be able to do anything with that blank page. So it's really important to figure out why you're not writing so you can do the work to take care of yourself and get over that obstacle or obstacles. So, yeah, third reason, the reason the advice just right is toxic is it because it completely devalues your struggles as a writer and ignores the fact that there is a reason why you're not writing. So, really quick recap. Reason one is because the advice ignores craft. Writing is a whole lot more than just putting words on a page. Reason two is because it ignores process, what any given individual writer needs to do to get themselves to write, and to write consistently is different and unique to that writer. And it can be hard to figure out what that is for yourself. And get this, over time, it may change. What gets you to write one year might change the next year. And then reason three is it because it completely ignores the fact that there is a reason why you're not writing. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you are not writing and you want to be writing, there is a reason or reasons why. And if you can figure out what those reasons are, you can move past them. You can work through them. You can solve the problem. And there are lots of different ways to do that. So, I hope this was helpful. If you could subscribe, and I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let me know what the advice just right makes you feel. Like, how does it make you feel when you hear that advice? I remember when I was struggling and not writing for almost 10 years, it made me feel depressed, even more depressed than I already was. And it made me beat myself up because clearly there was something wrong with me. When in reality, there were obstacles independent of me that were a part of my life and a part of my circumstances and mindset that I could tackle and overcome to start writing. So I look forward to hearing what you guys think and how you feel when you hear this advice. And please know that it is shitty advice. And there is a way to get yourself writing consistently that doesn't feel shitty. So, leave a comment below, and I'll be back next week. Thanks. Bye.